All right. So here's a few news articles while we're waiting for people to show up. The artists are really mad about this. Google now, if you search for a most famous painting in history, it doesn't show you the real painting, it shows you AI garbage imitating the painting, and the artists are very, very upset about this. If you look for Hieronymus Bosch, you'll see the AI garbage, and this is an example of the general enshittification of the web, which we're hearing a lot about. They say more than half of everything on the web is now AI-generated garbage, and therefore, it's very hard to train an AI, because if you feed an AI on AI-generated garbage, it gets worse really fast. And that's why people are saying, if you have a source of a large quantity of actual human-created content, this will become more and more valuable, which is why Elon Musk thinks his AI will be great because he has access to Twitter, the greatest content in the world, which is true from his point of view, but the rest of us are not interested in that kind of reality. But anyway, there's a blog by a writer, who got a job writing stuff for AIs. They're now hiring real writers. The most common use of AI now is for customer service. You contact things, and it pops up in the corner to help you. That's an AI, and they usually are pretty bad. And so they are hiring. They make up like questions that a consumer might ask, and they pay a human to write an answer, so they can train the AI on that answer. This guy says, "I know I'm contributing to the end of my profession, but at least I get some money now." And it reminds me of a liberal I knew years ago who would write right-wing talking points, like for more guns and to end abortion, because it's the only way he could make any money. And a lot of people think that radio shows are actual real people. What they are is people being paid to talk, and people who are being distributed what to say on the radio with newsletters and stuff, reading from scripts. And he was writing the scripts. Anyway, this is a lot of what happened. In the early days of the internet, we all thought the internet will be great. It'll create truth and honesty, and everybody will love everybody because you'll get to meet people. And we didn't think about commercial exploitation of the internet, where the content is actually fake or created by people with malicious intentions. So in Brazil, Elon Musk completely ignored the rules for Twitter. He just wouldn't even answer the government requests of who people are to take him down, or even have a lawyer answer. So they imposed a fine and blocked X, and he refused to pay, so they're seizing his Starlink money. From the viewpoint of Brazil, they say Starlink and X are the same company, so take that. So we'll see. I think Elon Musk is beginning to back down on his extreme position of feeling like you should have no content moderation at all on X in other countries, although not here. And so I've been one of the people advocating Rust, because C is responsible for a huge amount of the vulnerabilities we deal with, the memory corruption ones, because C is so hard to use that developers cannot figure out how to use it correctly, and they keep making the same mistakes over and over, like 5 or 6 common mistakes: double free, dangling pointers, buffer overflows, and off by one errors. All happen because it's so hard to write code in C that people keep making the same mistakes over and over. And but so they want. Mike Russinovich wants to move to Rust. He's the head of Azure. He's one of the smartest people at Microsoft. But the guy who wrote C++ is replying by saying there's a new, safer version of C that you can use. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But that's another option, I suppose. And this one is pretty amazing. PKFail came out about 2-3 weeks ago. We have secure boot on most systems now, which means there's a cryptographic verification of the code before you boot up, but the cryptographic verification relies upon a hard-coded key, which has to be unique from the manufacturer. And the code that the people that make this stuff give you has a sample key in there that says insecure key, sample key, do not use, and it turns out that everybody just used that key. Nobody read the code and actually implemented it correctly. They just copied the demo code and ran it. And this turned out to be applying to an incredible number of devices. The first they thought it was 500, now they found it's about 1,000 devices using the keys marked do not trust. So it's medical devices, gaming consoles, ATMs, point of sale terminals, tons and tons of devices. So their secure boot is not all that secure. There are reasons why it would be difficult to make an accurate secure boot, but what's going on is not that. Anyway, so the OpenAI has their newest model, which is supposed to be able to reason instead of just spitting out the answer. It's supposed to go through the steps of reasoning, and this is basically what you get with prompt engineering, where instead of asking it to tell you an answer, you say, do the problem in steps. Do this step, do this step, do this step, and then it will get a better answer. But now they put it out, and it supposedly will go through reasoning steps, but they don't want you probing to figure out how it works. Now, as you know, large language models that take input from the user can be jailbroken. You can get them to repeat their instructions. You can get them to dump out information about how they work. And what they're doing is if anybody tries to do that, they'll ban your account. So they're trying to hide what it's really doing. So this makes me think it's probably doing something worthless. Remember when Google brought out their Bard, they actually faked the demo at the Google demonstration. They had it looking at pictures and answering them, and then they had like an asterisk, and in the fine print it said, well, it actually took 10 times as long and a human had to write a description of the picture to make it work, but they didn't tell you that. And it reminds you of their truck. There was a guy that had an electric truck that was winning speed records, and they filmed it, and it turned out that it was going downhill, and they just turned the camera to make it look like it was going uphill.
A few days ago, I ran into a newspaper article
Yeah.
in which there was the image of this, what appeared to be a pixelated strawberry. And there was this article saying, now the new AI model
Yeah.
is able to do it. But the article was not explaining anything.
Yeah. Well, they call it Strawberry, but they won't tell you too much about what it really does.
Ah, okay, so it's a fake.
But supposedly it's their newest, latest, and greatest. But you know, they've been promising to have AGI like in a year or two, which replace humans. And I'm with Gartner. Gartner says that is nowhere. That is more than 10 years out, which is what stands for infinity at Gartner. They say that is not happening. So they're now, OpenAI is now evaluated at $130 billion, and they just raised another $30 billion of funding, promising it's going to get a whole lot better. So we'll see if it really gets a whole lot better.
But Sam, forgive me.
Yeah.
I mean, these intelligent algorithms are really inference algorithms, right? I mean,
No.
intelligence is a misnomer.
Well, nobody knows.
No.
But I mean, the original machine learning doesn't have any algorithm at all. It just learns. And you do not know how it works. Now they've tried to add some guidance, making it reason through things somehow. And I don't know, the way I would do it would be just rephrase your question into a multi-step question.
Because, for example, Google Translate. Google
Yeah.
Translate is simply based on correlation. You find on the web the word that have the highest correlation.
Well, I suppose, although these days it's probably using a large language model too. A large language model would do better. It would put them in context, you know.
Yeah.
Replacing each word, the word from dictionary would make sort of chopped up, broken text. A large language model could do better. But I'm not sure what they're doing in Google Translate. But it's their secret sauce. Anyway, we're 10 minutes out, so I'm going to stop this. Let me get to this glorious program.